Kena Scars of Kosmora was announced just 4 months ago. They promised it for 2026, and Summer Game Fest came and went. And Ember Lab has said absolutely nothing. So either this game is coming out in the back half of the year with zero buildup, or it's been quietly delayed. And I think everyone knows which one of those is a little more likely than the other. But here's the thing. I'm not here to be annoyed about that. Because when you actually look at the full picture of what's going on with this game and the studio, a delay might be exactly what Scars of Kosmora actually needs. And honestly, maybe we need it too. We're going to talk about where this game came from, why it exists, what the silence actually means, and what I think happens next. So let's just get right into it. Going back to 2021, Kena Bridge of Spirits drops. It's Ember Lab's first game. They were a small animation studio that made commercials and a viral Majora's Mask short film, and somehow produced one of the most visually stunning PS5 games that we've ever seen. The game was so beautiful, the Rot were immediately iconic, combat had way more depth to it than people gave it credit for, and it broke even in under a month. And then Josh Greer, co-founder of Ember Lab, sat down for an interview and said, and I'm quoting this from the article, "I don't know if we will do a direct sequel next." Josh Greer, Ember Labs from 2021. Multiple outlets ran that story. Kena sequel unlikely, no plans for a follow-up. The studio even floated the idea of like a TV show or a film instead of another game. So, when Kena Scars of Kosmora opened the February State of Play this year, nobody saw it coming. Like, nobody. And this was a genuine surprise that I was over the moon about. Here's the part, though, that most people glossed over in the announcement hype. The original Kena Bridge of Spirits was published by Ember Labs themselves. They owned it, they put it out, Sony just helped with marketing and early dev kit access. They were indie, essentially. Scars of Kosmora this time is being published by PlayStation Studios. That's a different thing entirely. What this means is that Sony came in and they said, we want to be fully behind this one. Same deal as things like Stellar Blade, Death Stranding 2. Ember Lab stays independent, keeps the IP, but PlayStation is funding and publishing this like it's a first-party title. Josh Greer wrote on the PlayStation blog that partnering with PlayStation Studios has, quote, empowered us to craft an even larger world. So the question isn't why did they make a sequel when they said they wouldn't? The answer to that is obvious. Sony came in with resources that made a bigger, better Kena possible in a way that wasn't before. The real question is, why announce it in February with a 2026 window, and then go completely silent for 4 months? Summer Games Fest is the biggest gaming showcase of the summer. It's where you announce release dates, it's where you drop gameplay deep dives, it's where if you have a game coming out in the next few months, you show up. Ember Lab wasn't there. No trailer drop, no surprise date announcement, nothing at all. And given that they also skipped every other showcase event like the PlayStation State of Play, the pattern is kinda clear here. Now, there are two explanations. Explanation 1 is the game is still coming out this year, just in a very compressed window. Holiday 2026 does exist. September, October, even November are possible, although everyone's worried about GTA 6. So maybe they drop a date out of nowhere on a random Tuesday. Sony has definitely done that recently. Otherwise, explanation 2 is Scars of Kosmora has slipped into 2027. It's still listed as 2026 on paper, but they haven't committed to anything because they know a shift is coming and they'd rather not announce it multiple times. What's my honest read? I think it's somewhere between those two. I think they're close, I think the game is real and it's great, but I think 2026 is getting more unlikely by the week. And if you're Ember Lab, making your first Sony-published PlayStation Studios title, you definitely don't want to rush it. So here's where I land on this, and it might not be the take that you'd expect. The second half of 2026 is already stacked. I don't need to list everything that's coming out, you know what's out there. If Scars of Kosmora launches in a crowded October window against 3 other major releases, it's gonna get buried. The conversation lasts a couple weeks and it's gonna move on. But if it slides to early 2027, it comes out in a slightly quieter window, it gets space to breathe, people actually play it, finish it, talk about it, the rot companions become memes again, or whatever the new companions are going to be, the Kena community is going to have time to grow then. Let's not forget, Bridge of Spirits was delayed twice, once because of COVID, once because it needed a little bit more time. And when it finally came out, it launched into one of the best receptions an indie PS5 game has ever seen. Ember Lab has definitely shown that they will wait until it's right, and honestly, with Sony behind this now, with more at stake than ever, I'd rather they get it right out of the gate. So, to bring this back to where we started, yeah, this game probably isn't hitting 2026, and I think deep down, most of us already knew that when Summer Game Fest came and went. But here's what I'll say. Ember Lab didn't have to make another Kena. They literally said they weren't going to, and then Sony gave them the budget to do it properly. A bigger world, more ambition, full PlayStation Studios backing, and they went back anyway. That tells me something about how much they care about it, and that's the reason I'm not worried. I'll happily take a great Kena game in 2027 over a rushed one in October or November. If you want to get caught up on the full story of Bridge of Spirits before Scars of Kosmora drops, I put together a full breakdown already and it's on the channel, links right here if you need it. Subscribe if you want to be here when the date does actually drop. I'll be covering this one all the way until launch. I will see you in Kosmora, and as always, happy gaming.